Okay. Hey, I'm Rose Hart, and today I'm talking with Brynn of mindsparkbranding.com, and we're all about retreats today. Brynn is hosting a retreat coming up pretty quick, and we're going to do some laser coaching on all the retreat questions. So, Brynn, I want to hear about your retreat, what's coming through, what's happening, where, when. Give me the scoop, and then we'll dive into questions.
Well, I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really excited about this retreat. It's funny, it's been on the back burner of my mind for a long time. You should do a retreat, like that's a thing you should do. And then about a month ago, I was thinking about this, and suddenly it came out of a kind of a semi-coaching call, and then suddenly it's like the thing birthed itself between my house and the post office, going there in the car, and it was just like, whoa. It's like I've always wanted to have a download, like you talk about, oh, I got a download. I think, well, I want a download. It's like I had to pull over the damn car. The download came in so fast and furious, and it was like, boom, do this thing. And we have a family cabin up on the shore of Lake Tahoe, and it's old and funky. It's got spiders, and it's got twin beds and creaky floors, and it smells a little bit like bad shit in one of the rooms, but don't tell anybody. So I was thinking, I can't do that. I've got to have it like at the really upscale place near Squaw Valley, the very shiny hotel. And in this download, I was like, no, go to the cabin. Go to the cabin. It's going to kind of make me cry because I'm so excited about this. It's about 50 feet away from Lake Tahoe. So it is, and Tahoe is this huge, beautiful lake. And it's at the end of September. So it's September 28, 29, 30, which means it'll be silent up there. There won't be anybody there. But this is dorky. I was thinking October. And then I looked at the lake temperatures and I thought, oh no, I'm doing it in September. So I want to swim. Okay. It's still going to be plenty warm enough to swim. So it's going to be this combination. And then the way that I do my work with my VIPs, with privates, it breaks down into like 5 distinct chunks. Okay. I realized I can do these chunks one in the morning, one in the afternoon, next morning, next afternoon, next morning, with plenty of time for contemplation or getting their act. No, not getting their act together, but like doing the work, because this is deep internal work. And then the final download came. This kind of made my head squeak. I was so excited. I've got a friend here that's a professional videographer. And so this retreat is all about mastering your message, knowing what to say about the crazy, unusual, nonconformist, original, out-of-the-box things that my clients do. Right. What do they want to do with it? They've got to be able to put it on video. You've got to be able to talk about it on video. And so we're having this private suite that I've set up for just a video. So the last part of the retreat is go film yourself, and it's all inclusive. So that was my baby that birthed itself like.
Brilliant. Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
So from there, and then the next cool thing, Anne, is that I thought of this, and on the way back from the post office, I got this text from a client out in Connecticut who said, "What's going on with you?" And I said, "Oh, that's funny. You should just call." And I pulled over again, and I talked to her. I was like, "That's weird that you called. I've got this thing I'm cooking up." And she said, "Oh, I'll go."
Right.
She just bought her ticket, a few days ago. But it's like, what? So how you're always talking about when it's right, it's right?
Yeah.
Oh, was this right?
When you're in the flow flows. And that is flow. Perfect.
That was flow. Now, can I tell you where I'm not in flow?
Yes, let's go there. Because the flow gets bumpy every now and then.
Flow. Go from flow to clog. So I'm completely comfortable with what I'm going to be teaching people at this retreat. Okay. Every element of their brand, all the kind of juicy internal bits that let somebody talk comfortably about what they do.
Okay.
So can I tell you a little bit about who they are and what's going on with them? So these are these crazy creative people like you're aware of, and they don't know it's hard to talk about. So they do 2 things. They either go on and on and on and on and on about how they do the thing, the process, or they kind of genericize their language and make it really bland and boring, hoping that somebody might get it.
Right.
And in both ways, they lose people. So this whole thing is going to be to go deep and go inside to pull out those things that make them amazing or awesome, as you would say, like those internal qualities that really let you stand out. Right. So that's I'm so comfortable talking about all of that stuff, but the promotion piece, you know, like I don't have a big list. I'm not really a opt-in, fill in this thing, like all the technology hurdles. Not only have I not crossed them, I really don't want to be honest. So the whole talk about it everywhere you are, I'm kind of generally comfortable with that, but specifically, and also asking for that, come and join me, you know?
Okay.
Being a little bit better at it, like I asked one of the people in my program, I was like, you know what, this would be perfect for you because you're exactly the kind of person that needs this, you know? You're smart, you're together, you're committed, and you're brave, and that's who I want. Right. So she went, oh, wow, thanks for asking me. But beyond that, Anne, I got to be honest, I'm really at sea.
Okay. So the question is really about how do you talk about your retreat so that it's comfortable and natural, and it inspires people to go, oh my God, I have to drop everything and clear that weekend and come, right?
Right. Like kind of the, you know, and it's funny, ironically or not, thanks universe, I have 4 speaking gigs lined up for the next 2 weeks. Before that. So one of them I had lined up, and then 3 others just plopped on me last night and this morning.
Yeah, there you go. The universe.
So that must be another download. Maybe download comes like bird droppings. It's like, here you go, plop, plop, plop. So then my question becomes, okay, I'm going to be talking about stuff. They're not big talks, or 20 minutes, and I know that you can't say, here's this, you know, $2,000 retreat, come on. So I don't know how to work that into that. That's where I get squirrely and little.
Well, who says you can't invite people to a retreat in a 20-minute talk?
The people that know about speaking, which is not me.
So what if we ignore all of those voices that have ever said it's not okay to say something at a talk?
Okay. You know, the thing where it's like, in 45 minutes, you can do a freebie offer. The longer you speak, the bigger the dollar amount of the offer. Oh, we can skip that?
I've been in business 8 years and I've never heard these rules. It's a good thing, or I would not have a business.
I'll send it to you. Okay.
Whew. Who are these rule police? Oh my God. Talk about
the thing was like, you can offer a freebie and that leads to a consultation and then you can upsell. I just get creeped out by all of that stuff. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So I didn't know any of this when I started. I filled my first 5 retreats without a list, without knowing anything about business rules, marketing, no opt-in, no online, like nothing. So it wasn't until I started learning some business rules then
started mixing up.
That's when I put together my first retreat that had nobody sign up because I was trying to follow these freaking rules. It's a good thing I didn't know that one. Then I would have.
Oh.
But the point is,
I could skip the rules with this too.
You can.
The rules have never worked out for me.
No, we're not.
So why am I trying to do that here too?
Right.
Oh, what a relief.
So basically, here's the model. Just like you got on Zoom today with me and shared your experience about your retreat, and there was passion, there's excitement. I was present to the energy of birthing this thing that came to you. That's exciting. That's magnetic. That's enough. So as you just be that and share that with more people, we all get to feel that. So there's your magnetism. Now, the piece, like, let's let go of it. Any hiccup around, is it okay to promote this or talk about it as wrong? Because that's the piece that's creating a concrete wall of self-doubt and like cutting off your voice. The next piece then is think about your retreat as if it's your birthday party. Because this is really your birthday party. You're having people over to your cabin, go swimming in the lake, go really deep into the essence of who you are, get really clear on the language you use to talk about your unique genius in the world to help fill your programs and sell your services, and like, let's help you find your words. And it's going to be so fun. And we're going to
Oh, yes.
Lake Tahoe. Like, this is your birthday party. This is how you roll. You don't even have to have cake. You can if you want to, but you're just having a party on the shore of Lake Tahoe with people who want to explore this same set of questions that you're passionate about exploring over these same dates.
Oh, fun. And it's so true, because they're coming because the rebrand or the pivot, it is a new birth. It's a birthday party.
It is a birthday party. Everybody's just coming to a birthday party. So any voice that says it's not okay to be excited about inviting people to your birthday party, that's a voice of it's crazy talk. So
it sounds so fun. And then we can think of fun stuff to do, right?
Right.
We can play party games.
Exactly. So forget whatever the price point is. I don't care if it's a $2 retreat or a $2 million retreat. It doesn't matter how the talk is. It doesn't matter what the price point is. You're just inviting people to your birthday party, and the people to your birthday party, they want to come no matter what the price point is, because you're holding an event that has amazing value that's worth it. And now that's the piece where you have to be aligned with your pricing, so you can feel like, oh, hell yeah, this is amazing value, and here's why. Aligned with your price, that's another conversation. But as long as you're in the birthday party magic.
So it's just like, hey, you want to come? That's where it is. Like the energy say, hey, you want to come?
Hey, do you want to come?
There's this cool thing I'm doing. You want to come?
That's it.
All right.
Nice and clear. So that's kind of the first wave of that. Does that help?
Oh, a lot. Ton. Because I have all these autas, but the irony is, of course, that's what the language is for everybody. What I ought to say.
Right.
So it doesn't work on any level.
No, exactly.
Okay, so I have more questions. Can I just hop around?
Yep, let's keep going.
All right, the next question I had was about pricing, and I have to tell you what I figured out because it's kind of silly. Okay. So in this cabin, it sleeps 12 people. There's a lot of people can pick. In one king size bed, 2 queen size beds, and the rest are twins. So I thought, well, you know how they have double occupancy and stuff at fancy hotels? Maybe I would charge by, like, the base rate was $2K, and that's the twin bed level. And then if you want to pay more, you can get a queen or a king. Yeah. Like, queen's a little more and king's a little more than that. Yeah. So that's what I figured out. And I thought, well, that's simple enough.
It is simple enough. You got it.
Really?
Yeah, it's that simple.
Awesome. So that was easy, but here's what's not easy, is that a lot of the people that are coming are in my community of business people, so we know each other. Okay. What's really hard, Anne, is not to give them, like, oh, I'm just going to let you come for, you know what I mean? Like, give everybody a discount. That's really hard to hold. I mean, it's a huge value. I have utter confidence in that, and I know I'm undercharging. It's my maiden voyage, though, so I'm gonna get the kinks worked out. Then I'm gonna do it again, and it's gonna cost more. But that instinct to, like, I really have to. You got any words on that one?
Yeah. So there's 2 pieces. One is, if you really know your value, then who is it serving to give it away at less than the value? Yeah. So if you're in integrity with, I know my value, then that's not even going to come up. So it's like doing some journaling on why this is valuable. And I know you've done this work, and I know you know the value, but to really amplify the ripple effect that this is going to have in the lives of those people who come, the ripple effect it's going to have from their business taking off and them having greater impact, and the ripple effect that this is going to have in the world. So you can really see. Okay, got it. Lock it in. Boom. Yeah. So spend some time breathing life into the real value that you're providing, so that it's not just, I know this is valuable, but it's oozing out your pores. No, you guys. Oh, rather than trying to fit it in my head. Okay, that's really great. Thank you. So that's the first layer. Scribble. Yep. Write yourself, like we say, journal your ass off, journal your way into embodying your value, so that it's not even an issue. Like, it wouldn't even occur to you to offer it for less than whatever that low end price is. And you can have a range, wide range, but there's got to be that line in the sand that says, no, I can't be in integrity with myself. I mean, just looking at the price of the retreat, the value you're offering, you've got expenses, you've got your own travel, you've got the time off, you're paying taxes on the income you receive. Like there's all this overhead that's baked.
Right. You're right.
You know, and so, you know, so the other piece of it then is looking at personally, if we look at the personal development side of it, what's the payoff of dropping the price?
Oh, like shrinking back to my old home, huh? Oh.
Even underneath that, if you, let's say, what's the price? $2,000?
That base price, yeah.
Okay, so $2,000, and you tell your friend, colleague, partner, business person, hey, I'm holding a retreat, and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. How much is it? And you say $2,000. What do you imagine their reaction is that makes you go, it's
that much? I can't do it.
okay? And then if they come back with, ooh, I can't afford that, sorry, what does that do for you? If you tune into your body, where do you contract, or what thoughts come up, what stories come up?
Well, on one hand, I'm so convinced of the value of this that I want them to have it. So I'm like, oh, I want you to be there because you're really perfect for this.
Yeah.
So on a higher level, it's coming from that. On a lower level, it's like, well, who am I to charge that? But I'm getting over that lower level, though. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay. So if we just lean into that for a moment, if there's this, they bumped into their glass ceiling of limiting belief. I can't afford it. Too much. That's their glass ceiling. And so rather than using the uplifter that raises the bar on, I know what's possible for you.
Of course.
You're shrinking to their level going, oh, I'll just settle to your level of.
I'm reinforcing their bubble.
Reinforcing their bubble. And you're disempowering them to say, oh, I also don't believe that you can be resourceful enough to create money. I'll suck up my life to come down to your level, and now we can all live in scarcity and lack together. But
that's it. I'm sorry, you got it.
We're together, and we have solidarity through our scarcity. Like
okay, that's really yucky and true.
Right? That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
So for you to hold that standard that says, I believe in you, and I know that you have it within you to generate resources and rise to the occasion. And it may not be comfortable. It will stretch you out of your comfort zone, but I want you to discover what a powerful creator you are. And you use this as an opportunity to discover you will be able to source funding for anything that's important to you. Now's the time to discover that. I'm going to hold that standard for you. Boom.
Okay, that was incredible. And I'm going to listen to this part of this call over and over and over. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, you're the uplifter.
Well, just to hold that standard for me and anybody else, instead of like, oh, it's so exciting, you're going to be able to use this, which is true, to like notch it up a level. It's like, and that's where it's coming from.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I want you to have this, and I want you to discover how awesome you are on your journey to having this.
Okay, that's fantastic. All right, so I have two sort of other weird questions. I don't know how much time we have.
Keep going.
One is this. I'm super intense when I do this work. I give myself completely up to it, as I know that you do. I'm fully present and in deep, deep listening mode. And when I'm not in that, I actually need to recharge by being alone.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit worried about also being like the den mother, as well as kind of the master brand strategist, facilitator, coaching them, getting that, and then like saying, okay, I kind of need to go sit on the dock by myself for a while. So I don't know how to balance the intense piece and the recharge piece.
Yeah.
Got any thoughts?
Yeah, it's key. It's critical because,
because everybody kind of wants to be your friend and keep talking to you, right?
Yeah. one of my first retreats, I learned that the hard way, where I also wanted to be with friends, and I thought, well, we'll just fly together to go to this first retreat, and I ended up sitting with my clients on the plane, and I didn't have me time. And by the time I got there, just that lack of boundaries, I was starting out from a place of depletion that I didn't know. Like, I just didn't know anything about it. So it's kind of built into the way you've set this up. If you're going to be staying in the same cabin with everybody else, you don't have your private space unless you're taking the king bed, right? And and you're closing the door. You have a place that you can close a door.
You know, it may be that I go rent I've offered them a B&B down the street. Maybe I take the B&B down the street.
You take the B&B.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, because otherwise you're in the same space, and it's built into the environment that you don't have the boundary that you need just to isolate and recharge and replenish your energy, which is
right.
So,
to not be needed for a little bit of time, right?
Yes, and that's the other piece. There's the environment, the geography, but energetically, in the language you use, the den mother, even though you were joking, if there's a little bit of that tendency, like I need to be, or I am needed, or I'm mothering, there's an energy leak there that's, again, disempowering, assuming that you have to take care of all of their needs, instead of, these are brilliant, resourceful, powerful women, assuming they're all women, that can handle themselves. They don't actually need me. I'm free to go do my own thing, energetically, logistically.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Right? So it's that energetic boundary of, no, they don't actually need you. They're going to get their business figured out with or without you. You just happen to be offering shortcuts that make it more fun and faster, but they're resourceful. They don't need you. And you want to be in that vibe to attract the people who don't need you. Because if you are coming from, I'll help you and I'll help you meet all of your needs, and I'll take care of you and I'll be and I'll feed you and I'll just hold everything for you, you're going to attract people who actually need that. And it's going to feel like an anchor.
I completely understand that. It's very similar to the price question.
Yes.
Am I reinforcing a bubble that gets smaller and smaller, or am I cutting them free?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Got it. If you're going to walk on wings, cut them free. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So this next question might be related. I've got one more question if there's time.
Yeah, go for it.
In a small group of, say, 5 people, one person I'm concerned about is a little bit of an energy vampire.
Okay.
So I need to figure out how to create boundaries around that. Like, boundaries for me feel like everything.
Yeah.
You know? So in some parts of my life, I feel like I'm like the former smoker of bad boundaries, but other places, clearly I'm still finding them. So, but when it comes to kind of that kind of energy vampire thing, that it's not a guarantee. It's just a possibility. So I want to learn I want to kind of protect the space, hold the space for everybody, hold the space for her, hold the space for me, and keep it clean.
Yes.
So
is this a person that's already enrolled? Okay.
Enrolled and flying out, bought tickets.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is to be screening people so that there's less of those coming. But if she's already coming,
did you say you blipped out on Soundwise? Did you, first way is have less of those people?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's funny because I suspected that, but I spoke to somebody else who knows her well, because I don't. Yeah. And she said, ooh, yeah, watch out.
Okay.
Like, okay, already booked. Now what?
Right. So now your job is, number one, again, be journaling your ass off, journaling around the intention and the energetics of the space you're holding. What are the qualities that are important? What are the interpersonal dynamics? Just journaling about how you feel, how things flow, like creating it in your mind's eye first, and mentally setting intentions so that you're clear on what you want to create as an experience. And of course, letting go, because things never go how we imagine them to go. That's just you rehearsing in your mind's eye. Then prior to getting there, create your shared agreements for the group.
Great. I have you on mute because my dog was snoring. Okay.
I was wondering what that was. So what are the shared agreements about communicating, about interrupting, about speaking out of turn? Like, do you want to do something like pass the talking stick so there's a clear signal for when people are communicating? Offering, like, you were at the retreat we did a few months ago where, you know, we've talked briefly about some shared agreements, and it was about offering advice versus being present and listening. You know, what are your versions of how you want people to communicate?
That's great. That's great.
Just be really conscious about, if this is your planet, basically, and you're making up the rules, what are the rules for how people interact that that inhibit the behavior that might be energy sucking, or yeah, I would say the shared agreements is something you're going to bring up at the very beginning during the welcome circle or the orientation or whatever, and be talking about them, sharing your intention, and then speaking to the things that you perceive might be problems. So if you have a awareness that one person is going to want to dominate the conversation or whatever, you could speak to that generally and say, often in groups like this, it's really easy for somebody who's got a lot of energy to have a lot to say. And it's really important for this group that we allow everybody's voice to be heard. So here's what we're going to do. And you just
like, here's the container for that.
Here's the container for that. So you get to think through, how do I want to handle that? Do I have, you know, some structures or parameters in place so that people have a set amount of time, or a talking stick, or they all get a turn, or there's secret codes, or you throw the beach ball to each other? You know, you can play with it in a million ways, but for you to be very intentional and to communicate that up front will certainly help. And that way you've introduced it up front. Plus, when stuff comes up, you can refer back and say, oh, that was, you know, come up with a code word. Watermelon, number 5. We talked about that. We're going to shift gears and do this. And it doesn't have to be a source of shame or bad feelings or judgment. Like, you know.
Oh, yeah, we agreed on that.
Yeah, like, hey.
So I gotta be honest with you, that alone kind of makes me teary-eyed on the inside, because it's like, wow, that's such a clean way to do it, and it will avoid so much stuff, and it will give me a tool to use if it goes awry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And again,
it also makes me think of other things, like, since there's a dock and there's space, there's an outdoor area, to say sometimes you might want to take a meal by yourself, you know, to like open up all the possibilities so they also have their own recharge space.
Right. Exactly. So this is your job now, as it's still happening in your mind's eye in these coming weeks, to be thinking through all those parameters. How do you do meal times? How do you do discussions? How do you do breaks? How do you do these things so that you can trust your flow of how do you want to facilitate in a way that manages the energy? And, you know, if you need specific resources on any one thing, we can talk about that. But right now it's just tuning into kind of how intuitively you know you want to run it, because you kind of already know.
That's so wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. So I want to see if I had anything else. No. Awesome. Those are my big ones.
Okay. Yeah. So if you've got a tight energetic container and you're speaking naturally without inhibition about, is it okay? And you're holding the value, and you're empowering and uplifting people to be resourceful and source their own wisdom, their words, their answers. If you've got boundaries and you've got shared agreements, that gives you some structures that become pillars that then the flow of your retreat can flow within, just because you've set up some of these energetic structures, and then they have practical application too. So.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I just was thinking about like the whole activity thing, like a fun activity. And I just thought of one. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to take him to this really great place that I went when I was 12.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
okay.
be playing with that. Like, this is the fun part of the flow where the content and the geography, and how is this going to mix together so that you've got this activity supported by this environment and this type of conversation, and what's the desired outcome at this location. And then
Nice.
how do you build on that in this location with this conversation and this experience and this engagement.
Oh, I see. That's great.
So if you build in, like you said, 5 pillars of content,
Mm-hmm.
have an experience and an activity, that's redundant, but the environment, the activity, the theme or conversation, and the desired outcome for each chunk, you can make it a very interactive experience to say, here's the start here.
Sounds great. I want to go to that retreat.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to be on the dock for this
brilliant.
part. You're going to be over here in the woods for this part. Here's the play for this part. You're going to walk away with your words here, your message here, your tribe here, whatever your pillars of content are.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the interactive playground that builds on itself.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually do have one more question.
Yeah.
What do you wish you knew now? What could now Anne tell early Anne when you were first starting your retreats? What do you wish you could tell yourself? Because you've done a lot of them now and you're really good at it. So
yeah. Well, a lot of the things we were just talking about, my very first retreat, it was coming from such a place of generosity, but also that a little bit over caring, over giving.
Don't know what you're saying.
Lack of boundaries, like all the things that we just talked about. The only reason I know that is because that was my first retreat.
Okay.
I'll just share this space with everyone. I'll just sleep in the same room. I'll feed you too.
And I'll burp you when you're done, right?
With everything. And oh my God. So I did everything for everyone. And in a way it felt aligned because that's where I was at the time.
I see.
But I didn't, I broke even pretty much barely. I didn't charge enough. I was, I didn't have money awareness. I didn't have self-worth awareness. I didn't have boundary awareness, like all of those things. And honestly, I don't know that I could have skipped that step. I needed to have that experience to grow.
Yeah.
You could have that. So, in hindsight, it's fine. But I probably would have delegated more and not tried to do it all myself.
Okay, that's good. I'm starting to think of that too.
Yeah. The more to have other people, and I started that with the next retreat. I brought somebody else to handle the meals and a few other things that were just over the years I've built on that. But delegate more, value. Here's the phrase I would say. Because I was coming from such a place of generosity and wanting to relate with people. Because when I do retreats, it's like we become friends and family. As you know, you've been there. It's just this big love fest, and we all are relating to each other at a really deep soul level. And that's meaningful to me. But what I didn't have those first retreats was the awareness of thinking of myself as the talent. And in a way, that would have felt hierarchical, like, oh, I think I'm better than them. So I didn't have the capacity to bring that in. But by thinking of yourself as, quote, the talent, you have to think of yourself like you're in a Hollywood film in a way, and you're the talent. Like you have to be managing your energy to deliver the content. That means you're not the one setting up the folding chairs. You have somebody else set up the folding chairs while you rest and regenerate and take care of you. That's what I mean by the talent, is not doing.
Absolutely, I get that. Yeah. So how do you make sure
talent.
that you have full power to deliver by not going full throttle on everything you do?
Right. Those are the energy leaks.
Prioritize the pockets where you're going to get it.
Right. Oh, I'll just take care of you. And, oh, let me make your bed for you. Like I'm being facetious.
Or let's talk about this other thing you got going with your husband or whatever. It's like, nope.
Right. It's that lack of boundaries that is the energy leak that's not valuing the talent.
Oh, that's really good.
And
okay.
So think of yourself as the talent. And that's where having your own place, to have your own bedroom and your space to retreat to, so that you can have quietude in the evening.
Right.
Talent needs that.
Oh, what a great, great thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And by nature of the retreat, you will also be getting to relate with people at a deep level. So, you know, it meets our social needs, and it meets these needs for connection that we have, but not at the expense of your ability to really channel and be present with the message that you're here to deliver.
Okay, perfect.
Both and. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow.
Yes.
Gold mine to me. I really appreciate this. Thanks, Ann.
My pleasure. Good. Well, keep me posted. I can't wait to hear. What's the name of your retreat? Does it have a name, by the way?
The MindSpark VIP branding retreat
There you go. And
at Lake Tahoe. Master message in 3 days. Get some altitude.
master your message in 3 days. I love it.
Yeah.
With the cabin on the dock. Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. And if anybody's, you know, watching this and that's your thing, what's your website? Where do they go for information?
MindSparkBranding.com, and that's just the way it sounds. MindSpark Branding.
Awesome.
And
Cool.
then thanks so much.
Good vibes for an amazing experience. You talent, you have so much fun. And
thank you. All right.
All right.